can I ask you, in terms of the vehicle that you guys selected as, or at least being partially the inspiration for this, was the musical form of the corrido, and how that tied into both, some of the things you mentioned on the way over, that it's this music that's both been smuggled over, but also oftentimes is the content of some of the great songs is about smugglers. And so can you talk about the corrido and its role in this project?
Oh yeah. I had like this kind of epiphany when I was watching Al Otro Lado documentary by Natalia Almada about corridos, but also about how they showed up in different ways in Mexico and then in LA, how the contents of the lyrics of the music were about smuggling, but the song form itself was smuggled, in a sense, between Mexico and LA, or Mexico and the United States. And I started to think about that might be, a kind of model for musical creativity in general. I mean, if you look not only at literal political borders, but like CBGB's, for example, was on a neighborhood border between like a kind of NYU student neighborhood and what at the time it started was a largely Puerto Rican working class neighborhood. And I don't think it's accidental, the kind of, I don't think it's accidental that was the locus, that was a place of a lot of creative energy.
I read an interview where you were talking about indirectness as a way of approaching some of the different projects. It was, I think, in the context of talking about a cover version of a Jimi Hendrix tune that you did, and you mentioned that sometimes it's really appealing to you to approach a topic or a project in a very indirect way. In that case, you did a version of The Wind Cries Mary in which you didn't use any of the actual tune, but just the lyrics itself. And so from the different clips that I've heard of from this project, is that similar to how you approached musically this collaboration with David, as far as not literally trying to compose corridos, but rather using that notion kind of as a jump-off point?
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that you can't, like some things you get in trouble if you approach them too directly. Like in terms of the music of Jimi Hendrix, I find that if I try to do it too directly, it often creates a comparison that isn't favorable to me. So it's better just to kind of reference a little bit.
I was going to say, before we move on, do we want to play real quick that clip of Al Otro Lado? We have the trailer from this film, which I think Mark mentioned to me was one of the films that he saw in the creative process. And then after that, I want to talk a little bit about how you research some of these projects.